Welcome y'all to Robin on the Farm. Today I'm sharing with you one of my all-time favorite dessert recipes. This is 5-ingredient cobbler and it's made with frozen fruit. So it's so easy and so fast to throw together. Now for this recipe, you're going to need some all-purpose flour, some sugar, an egg, some butter, and some frozen fruit. Any kind of frozen fruit. You can mix it up. It really doesn't matter. It turns out great anyway. But if you don't have any frozen fruit or you just want to use fresh, you can also do that. I have peach trees, blueberry bushes, wild blackberry bushes, but we go through those fast. So I always like to keep some frozen fruit in my freezer. And this is such a fast, easy dessert to throw together. I make this often. So to give this recipe a try, I know you're really gonna like it. Let's just get started. So to get started, we want 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. Just put that right on into a big mixing bowl. You don't want self-rising flour, you don't want bread flour, you just want some plain old all-purpose flour. Now, if you want to make this with fresh milled flour, you can also do that. So to the 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, you're also going to add 1 1/4 cups of white sugar. Okay, so just put that right on into your bowl with your flour. Okay, 1 1/4 cups of sugar. And to that, I'm gonna add 1 egg. So just put that right on in there, 1 large egg. Now I'm gonna take my Danish dough whisk and I'm just gonna whisk these ingredients together. And you wanna whisk them up until you get a texture like coarse cornmeal. I really like this Danish dough whisk way more than a traditional whisk, because so often a traditional whisk, all your ingredients will get stuck in the middle of the whisk. It doesn't happen with this one, so I really like that. Okay, so this just takes about a minute to whisk up these ingredients. And you can see nothing is stuck to my whisk, nothing's stuck in the middle, so I like that. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You can see it looks like coarse cornmeal, exactly what you want. And it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, I'm gonna put that aside. I really love to make my cobblers in cast iron skillets. This is my 10-inch cast iron skillet, but if you don't have a cast iron skillet, you can definitely use an 8x8 or a 9x9 glass or ceramic baking dish. That'll work just fine. But these cobblers look so pretty, so impressive when you make them in a cast iron skillet. And these are so fast and easy to throw together. These are really great cobblers to take to potlucks or family gatherings. They look really impressive. So that's what I do a lot. Now, I'm gonna add my fruit right on into my cast iron skillet. This is a really forgiving recipe. You can use anywhere from 4 to 6 cups of this frozen fruit or fresh fruit, either one you wanna use. Now, like I said, you can do a combination of fruits. You can use all of one kind. It really doesn't matter for this recipe. You can get creative. These are both from Costco. This is a mix of peaches, mangoes, strawberries, and pineapple. You wouldn't think that this would be good in a cobbler, but it's really good in a cobbler, especially when you add a little bit of this to it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a mixture of these two today, but you can make it all blackberry, all blueberry, whatever you wanna do. Very, very forgiving, very easy to work for what you have. Now you can also see that these strawberries in here and these peach chunks are big. And it really doesn't matter. This is gonna bake the same amount of time whether you use big frozen fruit or little blueberries and blackberries. So don't worry about that if you have big chunks of fruit. So I'm gonna add 5 cups of fruit into my cast iron skillet. Now my cast iron skillet is oiled up. Whenever I use my skillets, I wash them, I oil them up, and I put them away for the next time. So this is already ready to bake in. All right, so I just added 5 cups of this frozen fruit right on into my cast iron skillet. Now to that, I'm gonna add my flour, sugar, and egg mixture. I'm just gonna pour this right on top. Now just spread that all around so that it's evenly spread on top. Now on top, I'm gonna pour my melted butter. This is 5 tablespoons or about 1/3 cup of melted butter. So I'm just gonna pour that all over the top of this cobbler. This is my really awesome Lodge cast iron melting pot. I use this all the time. This is my most used cast iron piece. My husband got it for me for Christmas, and I really didn't think I'd use it that much, but I use it almost daily, so I love it. All right, that is it. It's all assembled and it's ready to throw into the oven. I have my oven preheated to 400 degrees, and I'm gonna throw this cobbler in there for 45 minutes to bake, and then it's gonna be done. So I'm gonna throw this in the oven and I'll show it to you when I get it out. Here is my fruit cobbler before baking so that you can see it up close really well. And here it is after baking at 400 degrees for 45 minutes. Let yours go until the crisp or the crumble crust on top is browned just as much as you want it. You can also turn on the broiler just for a minute or less, just to brown it up if you'd like to do that. But isn't this fruit cobbler so pretty? It looks so rustic in the cast iron. But even if you don't use cast iron, it's such a pretty dessert to make. Perfect for potlucks, family gatherings. It really is impressive looking, and it looks like you spent way more time than just a few minutes putting it together. All right, it's time to get into this. This looks incredible. You can see the blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, the peaches, the mangoes, even the pineapple in this. They all go together so well. So you can do a single berry cobbler, or don't be afraid to try mixing lots of different kinds of berries together, even if you're not sure if they're going to go together very well. You've got to try this cobbler with a scoop of ice cream. The tang from the fruit is delicious with the sweet and creaminess from the ice cream. And if you take this to a potluck or a picnic where your ice cream might melt, whipped cream comes in a close second with this cobbler. I'm going to make a couple of these cobblers for our 4th of July Independence Day celebration. I also have been known to make these for Thanksgiving instead of pies during those busy years because they're so much faster and easier, and I kind of like them better than pies anyway. So definitely give this fruit cobbler a try. So easy, only 5 ingredients, and I know that you're going to love it. I'll leave the printable recipe for this 5-ingredient fruit cobbler down in the description and on my website, robinonthefarm.com. Thanks so much for being here with me on Robin on the Farm. I'll see you next time.
Robin's in the kitchen, dough beneath her hands, wheat from the fields and eggs from her land. Sunlight through the window, a warm golden glow. She's working hard to make that dough. With flour on her apron, loving each need, ground wheat fresh, sowing her seed. The smell of fresh bread rises in the air. Simple life without a care. In Robin's kitchen, dreams come alive. Each loaf of bread a reason to strive. From sunrise to sunset, her heart's on show.